Just tell them you fell down the stairs, my mother whispered urgently, gripping my arm as we sat in the emergency room. Remember, Amanda, family protects family. My head throbbed with each word, the fluorescent lights sending sharp pains through my skull. Beside her, my sister Kate lounged in the hospital chair, scrolling through her phone as if we were waiting for coffee, not sitting in the ER after she'd slammed my head into the kitchen counter. My name is Amanda Chin, and at 24, I was living through a nightmare that had been building for years. Kate, my older sister by 2 years, had always been volatile, but our parents had mastered the art of looking the other way. She's just passionate, they'd say. You need to understand her better. Understanding Kate meant accepting her rage, her jealousy, and her increasing violence. But this time was different. This time there were witnesses. It had started at Sunday dinner. I'd just announced my acceptance into medical school, something I'd worked towards for years. While my parents offered tepid congratulations, carefully watching Kate's reaction, my sister's face had turned to stone. Medical school. She'd sneered, still trying to prove you're the smart one. Before I could respond, she grabbed my hair and slammed my head into the counter. The last thing I remembered was our neighbor Mrs. Thompson's horrified scream from the doorway where she'd been returning a casserole dish. Now, sitting in the ER with the room spinning, I could hear my mother's frantic voice. Mrs. Thompson understands it was an accident. She won't say anything. Right now, we need to focus on keeping this quiet. A sharp pain shot through my temple, and I fought back nausea. The door opened and Dr. Martinez walked in, her expression serious as she reviewed the chart in her hands. Amanda? I'm Dr. Martinez. Can you tell me what happened? I opened my mouth, but my mother spoke first. She fell down the stairs. Clumsy accident, really. We just want to make sure she's okay. Dr. Martinez's eyes narrowed slightly. She looked directly at me, ignoring my mother's interruption. Amanda, can you tell me what happened? She told you, Kate snapped, finally looking up from her phone. She fell. Can we get some pain meds and go? I need to hear from Amanda, Dr. Martinez said firmly. And I need to speak with her alone. Absolutely not, my mother protested. She's confused from the fall. We need to stay with her. Mrs. Chen, hospital policy requires that I speak with patients privately in cases of head trauma. Please wait outside. Mom, I whispered, my voice shaking. It's okay. My mother's grip on my arm tightened. Remember what we talked about, Amanda. Family first. As they left the room, Kate shot me a warning look that made my stomach turn. The door clicked shut, and suddenly the room felt like it could breathe again. Dr. Martinez pulled up a chair, her kind eyes meeting mine. Amanda, I've reviewed your initial CT scan. The injury pattern doesn't match a fall downstairs. My heart pounded. Years of keeping quiet, of protecting Kate, of being the perfect daughter who never caused problems. It all sat heavy in my chest. Your scan shows a focus point of impact, she continued, pulling up the images on her tablet. And there are signs of previous injuries that never received medical attention. I need you to tell me the truth. Was this done to you? Tears welled up in my eyes. If I tell you, I whispered, it'll destroy my family. If you don't tell me, she replied gently, it might destroy you. I've seen the progression of these injuries. They're getting worse, aren't they? I nodded, wincing at the movement. There was a witness, I finally said, my voice barely audible. Our neighbor, Mrs. Thompson, she saw everything. Dr. Martinez made a note in my chart. Can you tell me what really happened? And so I did. The words spilled out, not just about today, but about years of accidents that weren't accidents at all. About Kate's escalating violence, my parents' determined silence, the constant pressure to keep the peace at any cost. Your sister did this, Dr. Martinez confirmed, her pen pausing on the page. Yes, I whispered. But my parents, they'll never admit it. They'll say I'm lying. They won't have to admit it, she said, her voice firm. The medical evidence, the witness statement, and most importantly, your testimony, it's all we need. Amanda, as your doctor, I cannot and will not send you back into a dangerous situation. For the first time since I'd arrived at the hospital, I felt something other than fear, something that felt like hope. The door burst open and my mother rushed back in. It's been long enough, she announced. We're taking her home now. Dr. Martinez stood, her stance protective. Actually, Mrs. Chen, Amanda won't be going anywhere tonight, and I've already contacted the hospital's patient advocate and legal team. My mother's face paled. You what? Mom, I said, my voice stronger than I expected. I told her the truth. About everything. The look of betrayal on my mother's face would have crushed me an hour ago. Now, with Dr. Martinez standing beside me, it felt like the first step toward freedom. Amanda, my mother hissed, what have you done? Dr. Martinez answered for me. She's done exactly what she should have done years ago. Now, Mrs. Chen, you can either step outside willingly or I can have security escort you out. As my mother backed out of the room, I caught a glimpse of Kate's face through the doorway. For the first time in my life, my sister looked afraid. And I finally felt safe. The next 48 hours were a whirlwind. Dr. Martinez's intervention set off a chain of events that my family couldn't control or silence. Mrs. Thompson came forward with her statement, describing in detail how she'd witnessed Kate's attack. The hospital's patient advocate, Sarah, sat with me through hours of documentation, photographing old injuries and recording my statement. Your CT scan shows evidence of at least 3 previous concussions, Dr. Martinez explained during her morning rounds. None of them were ever treated professionally. Can you tell me about those incidents? I could. Each one was crystal clear in my memory, though my family had different versions of these stories. The time Kate pushed me off the porch because I got better grades, my parents said I was careless. The Christmas she threw a glass paperweight at my head because I got the internship she wanted. They said I should have ducked. The day she knocked me unconscious because her boyfriend said I was pretty, they said I shouldn't have provoked her. We have enough evidence to file charges, Sarah told me gently. The decision is yours. But you should know that this pattern of violence typically escalates without intervention. My mother tried calling hourly, leaving voicemails that switched between pleading and threatening. You're tearing this family apart, she cried in one message. After everything we've done for you. Kate's messages were simpler, more direct. You'll regret this, she texted. Nobody likes a snitch. But for the first time, I had support. Dr. Martinez made sure I was never left alone, assigning security to my room when she couldn't be there herself. The nurses created a approved visitors list that excluded my family. Even Mrs. Thompson visited, bringing me my favorite tea and years of guilt in her eyes. I should have said something sooner, she admitted, clutching her purse. I saw things over the years, heard things. We all did in the neighborhood. But your parents were so good at explaining it away. I didn't blame her. I've been explaining it away myself for years. The police came to take my statement, and Detective Lisa Morgan listened without judgment as I recounted years of abuse. Your sister has a record, she told me. 2 complaints from former roommates, 1 from an ex-boyfriend. All dropped under pressure. You're the first one to hold your ground. That night, alone in my hospital room, I got a call from my father. Princess, he said, using his old nickname for me, this has gotten out of hand. Your mother is devastated. Kate could lose her job if this goes public. We can work this out as a family. Like we always have. I asked, surprising myself with the steadiness of my voice, by pretending it never happened. She's your sister, he pleaded. Blood is thicker than water. Blood is exactly what I'm worried about, Dad, I replied. Mine, on your kitchen counter, while you and Mom watched. He was quiet for a moment. What do you want? I want Kate to get help, real help. And I want you and Mom to stop pretending this is normal. And if we don't, then I'll let the police report and the medical records speak for themselves. After I hung up, I lay in the darkness thinking about the word family. For years, it had meant silence, compliance, accepting pain as a form of love. But Dr. Martinez had shown me a different kind of care. Professional, uncompromising, protective. She'd done what family should do. She kept me safe. The next morning, my mother appeared at the hospital, but not to see me. She had a meeting with the hospital administration trying to prevent the mandatory reporting of domestic violence. It's a private family matter, I heard her insist through the door. No, Mrs. Chen, Dr. Martinez's voice was firm. Assault is a criminal matter, regardless of who commits it. When security escorted my mother out, I caught a glimpse of her face. She looked older, somehow. Smaller. Like the weight of all her secrets was finally too heavy to bear. Detective Morgan visited again, this time with news. We're charging Kate with assault, she said. The DA believes we have a strong case, especially with the witness statement and medical evidence. Are you prepared to testify if necessary? I thought about Kate's text messages, my mother's tears, my father's pleas. Then I thought about Dr. Martinez standing guard over my safety like the big sister I should have had. Yes, I said. I'm ready to tell the truth. As I signed the formal complaint, I felt something shift inside me. The fog of fear that had clouded my life for so long began to lift. For the first time, I wasn't just surviving my family, I was standing up to them. Dr. Martinez came by for evening rounds, smiling when she saw me sitting up, working on medical school applications on my laptop. How are you feeling? Stronger, I said, and I meant it. Good, she nodded. Because tomorrow, we start preparing for what comes next. Your family won't make this easy. I know, I replied, but I'm not alone anymore. She squeezed my hand. No, you're not, and you never will be again. 6 months later, I sat in a courtroom, watching Kate plead guilty to assault charges. My sister, who had always seemed larger than life, looked small in her formal attire. The judge's conditions were clear: mandatory anger management, therapy, and a restraining order keeping her away from me. My parents sat behind her, their faces masks of disapproval, not at Kate's actions, but at my betrayal in pressing charges. They hadn't spoken to me since I refused to drop the case except through their lawyer. But their silence no longer felt like punishment, it felt like peace. The defendant will also pay restitution for medical expenses, the judge announced, and complete a domestic violence intervention program. I caught Dr. Martinez's eye from where she sat beside me. She'd taken a personal day to be here, just as she'd been there for every step of my recovery. After I was discharged from a hospital, she'd helped me find an apartment near the medical school, away from my family's influence. She'd written my recommendation letter, mentioning my resilience in the face of adversity. You showed the kind of courage we need in medicine, she told me. The ability to stand up for what's right, even when it's difficult. As we left the courthouse, my mother tried one last time. Amanda, she called out, her voice breaking. Please, we can still fix this. We're family. I turned to face her, seeing not the authoritative figure of my childhood, but a woman who had failed to protect her daughter. No, Mom, you can't fix this, but maybe now Kate can fix herself. My father stood silently behind her, his face unreadable. Kate was already being led away by her lawyer, her back straight, her steps measured. I wondered if she was finally understanding the consequences of her actions. I'm sorry you lost your daughters, I said quietly, but I'm not sorry I saved myself. That evening, I hosted a small dinner in my new apartment. Dr. Martinez was there, along with Mrs. Thompson, Detective Morgan, and Sarah from Patient Advocacy. These women had become my support system, my chosen family. I got my medical school acceptance letter today, I announced over dessert. The room erupted in cheers. First round of tuition's on me, Mrs. Thompson insisted. Consider it years of overdue intervention. You'll be an amazing doctor, Dr. Martinez smiled. You already understand something many physicians never learn. Sometimes saving a patient means standing up to their family. Later, after my guests had left, I stood at my window looking out at the city lights. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. It was Kate. I start therapy tomorrow. I don't expect forgiveness. But I want you to know I understand now what I did. What they let me do. I'm sorry. I didn't respond, but I saved the message. Maybe someday, after lots of therapy and time, we could build something new. Something healthier. But for now, I needed to focus on my own healing. The next morning, I started my first day as a volunteer at the hospital's trauma unit. Dr. Martinez had suggested it as good experience before medical school. My first patient was a young woman with suspicious bruises, her husband hovering nervously nearby. I saw myself in her downcast eyes, recognized the familiar excuses, but now I knew what to do. I need to speak with her alone, I told the husband firmly, channeling Dr. Martinez's professional authority. He protested, just as my mother had, but hospital security ensured he left. You're safe here, I told the woman once we were alone. And whatever you tell me stays between us and the medical team. She burst into tears, years of secrets spilling out. I held her hand, just as others had held mine, and started the process of documentation that would help her find freedom. That evening, Dr. Martinez found me updating patient charts. Good first day? I helped someone, I said simply. Like you helped me. She nodded approvingly. That's how we break the cycle, one patient at a time. My phone buzzed. Another text from my mother, which I deleted without reading. Some bridges needed to stay burned to light the way forward. "Ready for rounds?" Dr. Martinez asked, holding out an extra coffee. I stood up, straightening my volunteer badge. 6 months ago, I'd been a victim in this hospital. Now I was helping others find their voice, their strength, their way out. "Ready," I replied, and I meant it in every way possible. As we walked through the hospital corridors, I thought about how far I'd come. My family had wanted me to keep quiet, to accept violence as love, to choose silence over safety. Instead, I'd chosen truth, healing, and a different kind of family, one built on protection rather than permission, support rather than silence. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is tell the truth, even when those who should love us most want us to lie. My truth had cost me my family, but it had given me something far more valuable: myself. And that was worth everything.